It started on a Wednesday night. I remember because it was the only night of the week I didn't have to set an alarm for the next morning. I was in my living room, lights dimmed, scrolling mindlessly on my phone. Outside, the wind howled, shaking the windows. A storm was coming. I live alone in a small apartment on the 3rd floor. It's an old building, the kind with creaky wooden floors and thin walls. That night, though, something felt off. It was an unsettling kind of silence, like the air itself was waiting for something. At around 1 a.m., I got up to get a glass of water. As I passed the window in my kitchen, I saw something that made my stomach drop. There was a man standing outside, not on the ground, not on the fire escape. He was just standing there, right outside my 3rd floor window. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. The man was completely still, his face hidden in the shadows. His posture was unnatural, too rigid, like he wasn't really standing, but rather being held there. I blinked, and he was gone. My heart pounded as I stepped back, gripping the counter for support. Maybe I was just tired. Maybe it was a trick of the light. But I knew what I had seen. I checked the fire escape, nothing. I even looked down at the street. No one. I barely slept that night. Every creak in the apartment made me jump. Every shadow in the corners of my room seemed to move. The next night, I forced myself to stay calm. I locked all the windows, drew the curtains, and left the kitchen light on. By 2 a.m., I was still awake, paranoia eating at me. I told myself not to look, but I couldn't resist. Slowly, I walked to the kitchen and pulled back the curtain. He was there, closer this time. His face pressed against the glass, his wide, empty eyes staring straight into mine. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My body locked up in sheer terror. Then, as if sensing my fear, the man smiled. And just like that, he was gone again. I don't remember much after that. Maybe I fainted. Maybe I just blacked out from fear. But when morning came, I packed my bags and left. I never went back. But sometimes late at night, I still get that feeling, that unsettling silence, like something is waiting. And when I pass by windows, I never look outside, just in case. It's been 6 months since that night. I moved to a different city, changed my phone number, and even stopped using social media. I told myself it was over, that whatever happened back in that apartment was just my imagination. But the feeling never left me. At night, I still wake up suddenly, heart racing, convinced that someone is watching me. My therapist says it's anxiety. Trauma, maybe. But deep down, I know the truth. Last week, it happened again. I had just gotten home from work. My new apartment is on the 5th floor of a modern building, secure, with no fire escapes or balconies. There's no way someone could be outside my window. And yet, as I stepped into the kitchen and glanced at the glass, I saw it. A faint outline of a face. Not a reflection. Not a trick of the light. A smudge on the outside of the window, as if someone had pressed their forehead and lips against it. The same wide, empty eyes. The same awful grin. I stumbled back, nearly knocking over a chair. My mind screamed at me to run, to leave again, but where would I go? How do you escape something that shouldn't even be possible? I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I told myself I would call someone, maybe the police, maybe a priest. But before I could, I noticed something even worse. The smudge on the glass, it wasn't there anymore. Not wiped away, not cleaned. It was just gone, like it had never been there at all. I don't know what he is. I don't know how he follows me. But I know this, he's getting closer. And I don't think I can run forever. I tried to tell myself it was all in my head. Lack of sleep, paranoia, unresolved fear from the old apartment. But deep down, I knew better. I stopped looking at my windows altogether. I kept the blinds shut at all times, refused to step out onto my balcony, and avoided reflective surfaces at night. But it didn't matter, because last night, he came inside. I woke up to a noise, a soft creaking, like footsteps on old wooden floors. But my apartment had carpet. For a long time, I didn't move. I just lay there, my body frozen, my breath shallow. Then slowly, I turned my head toward my bedroom door. It was open. I was sure I had closed it before bed. The hallway beyond was dark, but something about that darkness felt wrong. It wasn't just the absence of light. It was deeper, heavier, like the space itself had been swallowed by something unnatural. Then I saw it. A shadow. Not moving, not shifting. Just standing there. Watching. I didn't dare breathe. Then ever so slowly, the shape took a step forward, and I saw his face. It was exactly as I remembered, pale, stretched into that horrible grin, eyes wide and empty. But this time, he wasn't behind a window. He wasn't outside. He was here. I scrambled out of bed, my legs barely working, my mind screaming at me to run. But the moment I blinked, he was gone. Just gone, like he had never been there at all. But I know what I saw. This isn't just some hallucination or nightmare. He's real. He's inside now. And I don't think he's leaving. I didn't sleep after that. I sat in the corner of my room, knees to my chest, staring at the open doorway until the first rays of sunlight crept through the blinds. The moment morning came, I packed a bag. I didn't even think. I just grabbed my keys and left. But as I reached for the front door, I hesitated. Something felt wrong. Slowly, I turned my head back toward the apartment. The place was silent, empty. But there was something different. The mirror in the hallway. I always avoided it, always kept my eyes low when I passed by. But now, for the first time in months, I forced myself to look. And I saw him. Not behind me. Not in the reflection of the room. He was in the mirror itself. His face was inches from mine, his grin wider than ever. His lips moved, though no sound came. But somehow I understood. You can't leave. My breath caught. My vision blurred. And then nothing. I woke up hours later, lying in my bed, as if I had never moved. The packed bag was gone. The front door was locked. The hallway mirror was spotless, like no one had ever touched it. But I know what I saw. I know what I heard. I was never meant to leave. And now, I don't think I ever will.